Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my fellow YouTubers, Facebookians. Aries Santa here with some good tips. Now, it's almost that time of the year. Christmas is coming, Thanksgiving, and people say to me in my inbox, what do I get my kids? What do I get my wives? What do I get my husband? Grandparents and yada yada yada. Well, today is something similar to it, but it has to do with items, material possessions that you want or you need. Yes. Some people say to me, Santa, the iPad is so cool. I want one. Well, you can get an iPad, iPad 2, iPad 3, iPad 4th generation, iPad mini, and then people say, oh, well, I'd like to do this or that. Well, when you buy something, you got to ask yourself, what is your price range? Now, if you can put it on layaway and buy it outright after you pay off the payments and then pick up the product, you're doing very, very good. Yeah. So, for example, someone told me the other day, they're like, man, I would like to have a custom 1911 pistol for self-defense. I turned and said, dude, you know what you're doing? You can tweak a basic pistol 1911 for $500-600. Tweak it properly, it'll shoot just as good out of the box as a custom jobby for $3,000 or $2,000. I've seen some go for $1,600. Now, frankly, I'm very frugal with my money. I'm content with it. Content with something. For example, I'm not going to go hunting and say, oh yes, wifey, let me have a $3,000 shotgun for duck hunting or $6,000. You know, that money could go towards the children's education or future children's education or future children's toys. I'm going hunting for turkey, for deer, for elk, for caribou, and for moose. By the way, old Rudolph tasted pretty good with a flamethrower. He pissed me off, I tell ya. So old Rudy doesn't have his nose anymore. His red-nosed reindeer. Yep, we just flamed through him. Tasted just like chicken, that reindeer. But anyways, the crossbow works properly. I get people say, oh, well, you know, I need the $300 fishing pole. Why? You know what you're doing with the fishing pole? You can utilize a $30 or $50 pole that'll do the same job as a $300 pole. Maybe you don't want it to snap fast enough. I've had trolling poles that's lasted 15, 20 years and they're still good to go. Take them out in the lake or the river or the ocean or Puget Sound. That thing will still catch some good salmon. And then you hear people say, oh, well, you know, Now, the video is about expensive. That's right. Expenses. For some of you out there listening and keeping up to date. By the way, I have Skype running, so someone else is listening to my speech. Let's just say you don't need to have the most expensive things in the world. That's right. I'm content spending $500 or $600, for example, on a pistol. I'm content spending $500 or $600 or doing some research, and I do immense of research. Before I go and buy anything, I teach my family members, including the sweetie on Skype, do your research what you're buying. Then you don't get a piece of junk like this first Samsung Galaxy that I could throw out the window as a clipboard like in that movie License to Drive, and he says, some people use clipboards for this exam. What I use, he throws it out the window and goes, I use this cup of coffee. Now this cup is filled to the brim. It would probably hurt if it burned me, right, son? Yeah. Speak up, son. It's very simple. You burn me, you fail. You don't, you pass. So the guy's driving with the cup, and he's watching the coffee the whole time. So, yeah, you just have to be very, careful. And you don't need everything to be high end. I mean, in this day and age, technology is dropping in price, for example. People say, oh yes, well, I need the $3,000 alien computer. Me? I went out the other day, I was looking for a laptop for someone, and I said to her, the basic $380 HP with a 17.3-inch screen is perfect. You got the RAM, you got the operating system, you can just type away and do webcam and stuff. She liked it. $380. You can't complain. Now, if I said to her, oh yes, I want a $2,000 tablet PC, Windows, I'd probably be tied up and strung up with a manila rope, because that's a little too much. I mean, you got to think of the family. I mean, if you're a computer guy and he's like, you know, I mean, I've read people saying, yes, I got this tablet, I got that tablet, I got this tablet, I got that tablet, I got a stack of tablets, this one doesn't do good, this one doesn't do good. Then you see one guy says, well, I have all these ones. It's like, well, which one's the best? Well, they usually do the job. I mean, the operating system's the same, it's the brand. One's a Sony, the other one's an Apple, another one's, you know, and he goes on and on and on. Brand's the other thing. It depends on what you want. For example, I get people saying, I'd like a duck gun, but I don't want to pay $3-6 grand. What do? Go get yourself a side-by-side Stoker, under and over, 12 or 10 gauge, even a 20 gauge. Go out, bird hunt, and you'll get them. Heck, if you really want to get some birds, and you know where the ducks are, and I'm not saying poaching or anything, you load that son of a gun up with one of those 12 or 20 gauge or 410 gauge pump actions that hold 9 rounds. You just sit there. Oh, by the way, just so you all know on the hunting rules, I think it's between 3 and 5 shells you can keep in at a time for ducks. I think it's 3, but some people don't. They take that plug out and it's like. So you just got to know what you're doing, but be content. In this day and age, you don't need to be some person down the street wanting a trophy wife with a pair of double D breast implants, blonde, 5'8", perfect curves, and saying, I deserve everything. I mean, come on. I have transsexual friends, I'm tranny myself, that sit there and they want to be taken care of. No, me, I take care of myself. My assistant over there on the couch snoozing, you can see his head. There he is. He cooks. I do the dishes. I vacuum. I try to dust. We also take care of business like phone calls and etc. So, technically, if you want to get technical, I would say, you know, you don't need to have the most expensive stuff in the world to be, you don't need to have the most, be the most happy or expensive person in the world to have the most best. You can be without. I mean, in this day and age, you just need to be a type of person who does what they can, you know. You don't sit there and say, oh, I want a trophy wife with double or triple D breast implants and blonde or brunette that's hot that every guy's going to drool over. No. You need to have someone that loves you, you love them, you take care of them, they take care of you. It's an open relationship, which means you both can be wrong at times, but at the same time, you work things out. Be content with what you can afford instead of sitting there trying to be competitive with the Jones or the Smiths saying, well, the Smiths got a 70-inch TV, I got to go to a 92-inch. Oh, they got a 92-inch, I got to go with a 110-inch. No. They got a Cadillac, you need to go with a Porsche. Come on. The math is not there. You don't need to spend the money just to be, you know, trying to put yourself in the poorhouse. Let me continue in just 1 second.